glasses come into your hands, let me just brief you about how this event happened. For long, uh, there is the single malt fan club that you must have seen on the invite. We have been meeting 11 of us for last 7 years. It was formed here in Pune. Uh, all those who are connoisseurs, who love drinks, who love whiskey, and especially the single malts, started. Uh, the like-minded ones came together, and we have been meeting now every 3 months, 4 months. All of them being designers, architects. We all thought at one point in time this platform should take up more responsibility of knowledge sharing along with enjoying the drinks only amongst ourselves. So I would rather introduce my club members here who are here, all men in black. If they can come here, we can have a nice picture together. Architect Chandrasekhar Kanekar, Architect Habib Khan, Architect Sanjeev Vidyarthi, Architect Rahul Darli, Architect Manish Bankar, Architect Chandrasekhar Beware, Pratap Naik, and R. Madhav Joshi and Paresh Kapadi. We have one member missing, Nandu from Hyderabad. So here we started here, this in Pune, and we have been meeting intermittently, having single malls, different malls, and Hansgrohe with Abhijit Sonar. When he came to me, he said, "It's a wonderful thought." And since the last time when we met, Kanekar sir said, the fineness in the whiskey is the fineness in the products of Hansgrohe. So that's where we all come together. And they said, let's do something together and we would support you. The first event, the first edition happened at Ritz-Carlton, where we got to know what are the single malts, how many different types are there, and the mixologists were there who explained and what goes with which single malt and what to eat and what not to. So it was an introductory session to the single malts. And today, in between some 6 to 8 months back, Sir told me about his unbuilt projects that he would want to present somewhere, and that's something which I grabbed the opportunity immediately, and I said, why not on this forum with all our friends together? And Hansgrohe readily accepted that. And then I thought that it should be clubbed with something else and tweak this and do something unusual. Though Habib Khan also has a very, good practice and the years of experience and wonderful projects happening, I requested him. He is also a shayer and he also makes poetry. So I said, why not an architect? So getting different facets of the designer to you and sharing that all with you, all our friends here. So we thought, I requested him, why don't you present a poetry today? So we're going to experience that. I hope you have the glasses in hand. Sir, please. Yes, give it to the audience first. Already on the table. So you have the glasses with you. The first one is Talisker. And again, we have this Madhav with us, who is a connoisseur, who decides what we drink, who cooks the food for us. He's our cook, he's our chef, and he makes wonderful dishes when we have, and he doesn't let us have now the chana and the other things that go with the drinks normally, so on sidings. Madhav got us all this. So on this wonderful occasion and the second edition of Hansgrohe's Design of Spirits, I must thank them that they coined this wonderfully. Thanks to Pratik, Abhijit Sonar, Vishakha and Abhishek Rajpurohit. Can you just wave to the crowd of Pratik? All of them, and Ankush, where is he? So all this guys have been, wonderfully accommodating us and our what we call plans that we would want to get to you. And so the toast to Single Malt Fan Club, toast to Hans Grohe for the wonderful products that they have and the service, obviously, sales and post sales. Wonderful thought of them getting Hans Grohe wanting to partner with us, and also toast to their entire team and my Single Malt Fan Club members, and toast to the wonderful architect, such senior person who is celebrating his 75th. May the sound person should look at me. 75th year, and what an occasion to do something like this in this wonderful year, full of the wonderful canvas of work that he has presented to all of us. A connoisseur again, deciding what to drink and how to drink and what should be the pace while drinking, and his detailing also in his works. His portfolios we circulated in IIT when I was a president to all the schools, the kind of work that one should present. And again, an ardent fan of Kumar Gandharva. I thought, in the background, it's a tribute to him and his guru and his liking. So, Chandrasekhar Kanetkar I met long back when I was teaching and just passed out of school, and since then I've been following. And thanks to my organization where I worked for 25 years, got me closer at various occasions. He was our tutor, and the most legendary project that I know of, he must be having so many of them, but Grand Hyatt, you must have seen how he has presented, and a wonderful storytelling. I would present architect. So the toast, I hope you will have us. Thanks, sorry so much. Cheers to all of you, and I hand over this mic for the rest of the evening. Yes, this kind of events don't get completed without a support. And we have another connoisseur amongst us who today has supported this event, who is also, I know, as a big fan of Single Malt. Unfortunately, I don't see him amongst us. He is traveling, his flight got delayed. But two of those, his brothers are here, Vishrut and Rushi. Can you please stand up and acknowledge please their presence? Thank you so much, and cheers to them, especially because we could do this only because of their support. Thank you, Sartil Company, Anirudh, Vishrut and Rushi. Thank you so much. I hand over to Mr. Architect Chandrasekhar Kanetkar for his presentation.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I still remember the first edition of Design Spirits, which happened in Ritz-Carlton, and there probably it was announced or it was decided that I should talk in the second edition of Design Spirits, sponsored by Hans Grohe. I must thank Hans Grohe, Pratik Rawat, Abhishek Rajpurohit, and of course Vishrut Sathe, and Pratap Jadhav, our chairman of Single Malt Group, founder member and the chairman, and president, yes. Thank you, Hans Grohe, for giving me this platform. But I really never thought in my life that Single Malt will give me such a platform to talk to you on architecture. So you guys must have now understood that malt and architecture goes together. If you want to really get some platform and some publicity, better start Single Malt. Sanjay, for you. Cheers. See, today's talk, it's something different, that when you talk to unknown crowd, you try and talk anything and you can get away with it because nobody's going to ask you a question. But then here talking to a very selected brilliant minds of Pune and legendary designers of Pune, I feel a bit scared and a bit apprehensive about how I'm going to talk. So you'll have to bear with me because there could be some overlapping of the projects, because recently only I had done presentation in Mumbai for a Futura lighting and then some of the members I think had attended that presentation. So it could be a little bit of overlapping. You'll have to bear with me. To start with, I have chosen today's topic of architect and nature. So when we say nature, I mean, we all architects want to design our buildings which are related to the nature. And when it comes to the nature, we always think of an element in the nature. The first element which comes to our mind is a tree. That is what comes to my mind. Probably the same thing must be happening to you all designers. So when architects start designing with the nature, then I was just in a two minds how to select the projects and all that. Pratap Jadhav just announced that I am going to show you unbuilt project, but not necessarily they are mixed projects. There are some unbuilt, and I am still positive that they will see the light of the day one day, and I am very optimistic about it. So let's call it the build projects and some projects in offering, we can say. So that's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to show you my approach towards the nature and relationship with architecture, the way I think. To start with this slideshow, basically, I'm going to go to the very basics of the basics of the what you call the lesson we studied when we were studying in architecture. So you might find that why I'm starting with this basic, but then probably I also require little warming up, and probably you will also get little warming up before I go to my project. So I'm just going to start with very basic, but these basic fundamentals probably gives a way to the permutation and combination, the way you use these fundamentals in your project in a very different way, and how you establish and try to establish a relationship nature when you are designing a build form. That is all. So let's start. So basically, it's a plain ground, a plain land. When it's something like a space which is like a one playground or something. It's a very open space, complete open space. And what happens, and sorry, there's a lot of noise coming in, if you can. So if you are on a plain ground and at the center of the ground or somewhere, if there is a tree, that's a natural element which comes in the office. This is a very basic I'm trying to tell you. So you have to bear with me. It's kind of a warming up. So if you are walking on the playground, you obviously try to walk towards the tree. The tree has got a kind of a magnet or some element which in the playing ground you see it as an object, and obviously it is become very very obvious that you start walking towards the tree. One, you try to go for a shelter. Second, you try to get some, and every tree has a charging space. It charges the space around the tree, and that is very important. So if you walk, there is a threshold. That line is a threshold where if you stop, you still feel that you are away from the tree. I mean, again, I am talking very basics. So once you cross the line and once you come within the charged space of the tree, that becomes a semi-open space for you. It's a semi-open space like we create the verandas and semi-open spaces. It's like that. So, and then if you sit around the tree, you are absolutely relaxed, and you are, though not with the nature, but you are in the umbrella of the nature, and you are in that space where you feel very comfortable. That's a very, very basic lesson which I learned from my teachers, which I am trying to repeat it. So same thing happens once you are in the house, and if you take a similar position, you feel that extension of a pointer. So if that veranda, don't change, I'll tell you. So you see that veranda space below the roof, and you are outside that veranda, but still that house has got a similar characteristic of a tree of charging the space around. So you similarly you feel very comfortable as you would feel comfortable in the veranda itself. Next. And if you have a couple of structures and when the courtyard is formed, then you have a tree within. The structures also have strength to charge the courtyard, and the tree also has got a strength to charge the courtyard. The kind of a quality of the space which gets created is something very different. It is very different from the closed space inside. And if you push the tree outside, then you have two different semi-enclosed spaces. One is created by the tree, other is created by the house. And that narrow strip, if you, so all these examples which I am trying to give, one can do the permutations and combinations of using a tree as an element in your architecture. Sometimes you get a site whereby there is no tree at all. So at that time what we do, we try to design a space and we try to also dictate a landscape designer that is where you want a tree and why you want a tree. So because of these elements, then probably you try to establish relationship between your structure and the tree if the land is barren. And sometimes you get a tree or trees in the site itself, and there when you start thinking about architectural solution, then you have to take into consideration what are those existing trees, what is the size of the tree, what is the diameter, how much space that will charge, and how you will do a composition whereby you will make your occupant of the structure very at peace, and you will start the relationship like that. This is my guru. I call him a magician, Mr. Picasso. I always show it in my presentation. Without him, I don't proceed because I have learned so much from him about this architecture. His famous sentence is, as Picasso said, the art is a lie, and which makes you realize the truth. Means it is actually, we all architects, we are in our own intuition drama, and we are trying to imagine something which could be completely lie. But when we start working on the concept, from lie to, it's a process of coming from lie to the truth. And that process is a painful process. And that is what exactly his paintings have taught us. Whenever you see his painting, we see his struggle, that there is some kind of a struggle to find out the truth. And that process goes to this lie story. I mean, the passage to the truth is through this lie. That is the process. We all architects, we all designers, all we follow the same process. Only he has spelled out, and I believe in him. Next. So I will just show you how I am trying to use these elements in my projects. I would have been happy if pointer was there, but it's on the. So this one of the house which we designed had a particular plot, a triangular plot, and the client had asked us to design this thing. Of course, we had to leave this open space garden where this red line is marked. But there was a tree which was not in the plot. There was a tree on the outside, a beautiful rain tree and all that. Next. So the client was very much into Vastu and all that game of 9 squares and was happening. So particularly there was a public garden on the right side and a very beautiful garden, and there was this tree. So I wanted to see that my particularly living space out of that squares is there, which will get related to the next garden and the tree here. So what we did is, next, I just twisted out of the twist of the living room. Now it was really giving a force towards the tree. And so in between the tree at long, but it's a rain tree, so it has had a huge diameter. So that charging example which I showed you was the living room and the tree. I could establish a relationship. So it is like, you know, if some beautiful girl is going in the street, we also turn our head. So it is like that, let architectural living space turn its head to the beautiful tree.
Still you do it.
So,
Actually, still you do it.
we all. So we just twisted that living room passage and established the relationship. So now you can run through the slides because next. So these are the plans. I won't go into the plans, but the geometry itself will tell you how this living room was, telling how it was establishing. and particularly when you have apertures of glassy here and there. So that particular garden also, the other side and the tree itself. So everything was, so the long vista was opened up completely by just turning the tree, and the tree was even we did the wiring and lit up the tree in the night time when there is a party. So that became a symbol that ye ghar mein party chalu hai aaj. So that was the next. So you can, so that is a section whereby we wanted to create the basement having no walls. Particularly this gap was very important to me, whereby you go into the basement, you don't feel that you are in the basement, because the way it is arranged, you go to the basement, but still you can see the sky. So when you see the sky and when you see this tree and everything, so your relationship of the outer sky and the tree, it doesn't get discontinued when you go into the basement, and the basement is literally without any walls. Next. So these are some sketches. Next. Yeah. Next. So that's the bungalow. It's a huge requirement. The bungalow is quite a large, because nowadays nobody wants a bedroom. Everybody wants a suite for the son number 1, son number 2, daughter number 1, daughter number 2. So all suites, even for the son-in-law to be and all that. So it starts expanding, and it becomes very challenging for architects. Next, you can run through. Yeah. So that's the slide where I say, like, you have a staircase coming and you still see the rain tree outside, you still see the sky, and now you are actually in the basement. And the basement and in the form of a green wall, I established the nature coming inside the basement. And so particularly when you are inside, this is a particularly entertainment zone, entertainment area. So the guests can from the gate directly come from this staircase without touching the house above. So your privacy of the house is completely intact. And the other side also, the other staircase comes, and in the step form, the flower beds and the nature, everything comes. So the basement area is not bounded by the extreme boundary, but the extreme boundary is kept lower, and we are used to crawl in the nature inside, and you still see the sky every time. Next. This is one bungalow which I would like to explain. Again, another example of establishing the relationship with the existing trees. But existing trees now are in the plot. So when you see, we have a plot here, a very large plot, and it's a requirement of a very peculiar requirement. The client wanted his office also there, whereby a lot of people to come and meet him. Then his privacy of the big family also has to be taken care of. But all those requirements, as an architect, we know that they will fall in the place with the discussion on that. But what is important to me was those 3 huge neem trees, which are the challenging trees. So the north is on the top, and it is the west side. Next. So you see, these are the existing trees which are on site, and that's very important. Here you see, when I saw the site, there was a platform on the tree, and you could see some people sitting and relaxing under the tree. So that gave me a lot of clue how to go ahead about this bungalow. Next. So that's the site over here. The road ends up there, and there's the cul-de-sac on this side, and that the orange one on the top is the site for a bungalow. Next. So let the trees dictate. So now my entire series of this work, you will find I have allowed a tree to dictate and show me the path and show me the solution what I am going to do. So on this side there were the huge trees, and from the west side and south side it would cast a huge shadow and charge the entire space. That was when I went to the site, I saw it, that it is a very important element on the site. Now next. So if I want to place a bungalow within the shadow here, so I naturally get a semi veranda-like spaces, a semi-enclosed spaces, which immediately establishes relationship with the trees. So I thought I would like to put the bungalow over here, which are the most important areas. Next. And then the other areas would come in. Next. And then divide those elements with the light wells. so that I still bring in the light in the house in dark. And very important thing is that we created a driveway. So we and then took an entry to the north side. So that driveway became very interesting because of that length. I could make the entry at the upper level and not at the ground level. So that I could create another similar kind of a basements where the entertainment and all that would take place. Next. And we just again turning, but that wing was turned towards the tree. One wing was turned towards the other wing was very much within the vicinity of the tree. The wing which was going out, we tried to turn the wing in such a way that it becomes a part of the entire composition. Next. So that was the site, and these were the large trees. Next. And in a normal we would construct a kind of a bungalow which has got 3 levels. Then we had to next. So the height was going up above something, so we had to create a lower level going down, and still that tree is creating an interesting element and relationship. Let the foliage soften the glare, because the moment you knew that these trees are there, which are actually guarding my harsh sun of the west and harsh sun of the south. So it's something, that kind of a phenomenon where you see the sun going on the west side and then the rays coming out of the tree and giving a very beautiful kind of a quality of the light which you always crave for. So that was very important. And then when you see all these, the way the light and shadows form, every day we experience in our, when we go for a walk or something. So these are out of observation, you want to know, you want to extend that thing. Next. So ideally, as an architect, I would like to pull that tree and bring it over my bungalow and let my bungalow sit on it. But it is practically not possible. But this is what I imagine, that I want to pull that tree. Next. Like that. If the bungalow is down, will I be able to do that? I know it is not possible, it's not able to do it. But then that extension of that, I had to create some elements such that it is an extension of a perforation of the light, for the lights. So let's celebrate the light. Means that celebration, that if you remember the slide, when I went to the site, there was a platform and 2 guys were sitting below the tree. So the same phenomenon actually happens in Pune also. Everywhere there is a tree and people, there are temples and people are celebrating. I mean, they are celebrating. So this celebration is very important. And my client, being somebody in the society who would throw all the way parties and all that. So the celebration is a different kind. It is not the same celebration, but celebration is a different kind. Next. And this is the element which, when the celebration is done, these elements are used. So I just thought, why not use that element on the top of wherever my light wells are and wherever my terraces are there. I use that celebration element of patakas and design a pergola which will take care of the harsh sun coming from the east to the sun path from the east to the west, and I would extend the foliage in that fashion. So what we did, can you go back? Yeah. So what we did after we had to bring it the veranda level, level, and as these trees are old, you have to make the thing sunken inside, because you cannot put the earth around and do that. So that helped me a lot, because we had to create a huge pits around the tree, which I could connect it below this sloping lawn in a very dramatic tunnels to the basement. And then you come out of the basement through that tunnel and you are below the tree. So that becomes a celebration point. If you want to set up a bar in the evening below the tree or some food and all that. So you come out and it's like a surprise element that happens next. So that's a basically plan. You see the driveway there, the entrance and all that thing happening. And we had to push in the pool, and these are those pits where the service can be done from outside. And this is another pit where below this lawn, it is connected to the basement areas of the bungalow. So that element remains as a pit, but then that celebration element is coming in very subtly in there. Next. Yeah, you can run through the plans. You can see that how the wing was turned and all that. Next. So here you can see how the basement area is with the pool going down and how it is connected through the lawn tunnel, and the entertainment area is extended around. Next. So there is a home theater, there is a bar counters, and they have air conditioned lounge, and with these levels and all that, these trees also become the part of the basement. Next. Run through. So these are the different levels. This is the terrace plan, and that is the how I am pulling, taking that shadow of the leaves, extending over the major part of the bungalow, whereby the design of pergola takes place, and you put the complete bungalow under the shadow. Next. Next. You can run through. So these are the trees what you see here. You can run through. So this element was very important. The pool down, and then you have this. So this water cascading happens at that level, that entry level. There is a lounge here. So that lounge sits on that water. So for a guest coming in, and if you are from living room, if you are taken to the bar and entertainment area at that level, you are literally sitting with this cascade and the water, and a dead wall, a concrete dead wall or a stone cladded wall against, and it creates a very beautiful environment. Next. That is how the tree is maintained there, and the heap is created, and some areas, and the pergola extension going above. That's the pit. Next. That's how the tree comes up on the living room and the major areas, and this is the wing which takes a turn and looks at the trees again. Next. Those are the pergola elements of celebration happening over there. Next. Now it's very important. A good ideas start out as bad ideas, and that is why it takes so long. Is again actually see the meaning is same. What Picasso said, he is finding the truth is all lie. Actually, we all start with the ideas which is bad, and it has to be. I wouldn't call it a bad idea. Actually, that is the real idea, and it becomes bad only when it takes a pain out of you, and to reach to the proper solution, to reach to the proper matured solution. See, in architecture, nothing happens by accident. That is one thing we all know, you all know. Nothing happens by accident. Everything is by design. And everywhere you have to painstakingly do the detailing, do the approach, do analysis, to and fro, and that those pains and agony and that process, everybody we all go through is very important process if you really want to go in search of truth and where exactly you want to go. Next. So I'm going to show you one more project. These are also related with the trees. So that's the river Damanganga which goes through. The red one marked here. The red one marked here is a site right on the river, and we were asked to design the resort. So when we visited a site, there was a mango plantation. Now I am not talking about single tree. Now I am talking about the plantation. So this plantation, whoever that owner was, the owner who bought the land from, this plantation was done in a very systematic line. It's a mango plantation, but done in a very systematic line and all that. And you can see the graph and the grid and all that. So when I went to the site, he said that we want to do the resort. I said the first thing is your site is very good. One is it is abutting the river. Second is the major portion of the site have no plantation. So that the plantation which your site has, it's my duty that how I can save that plantation and marry my resort spaces to those trees. That is the challenge, how to do that. Next. So basically, when in the intuition, when you come and you place your drawing, and the intuition is the most important, the intuition process. So I could make out what are the turning point of the site. That is basically is the solution lies. That is where the force of the site. If you see, if I take the entry from here, which I wanted to, not near the river, to the resort. So I also wanted to create a driveway, long driveway. So if I create a long driveway like that, and that is the pivotal point. At that pivotal point, and the another force which is going along the, so that particular land around this red line is actually, there is a hillock there, so it is much higher point. So the approach to that focal point is ramped up, and then you come to that level. But that level, and when I saw the river, I said there is something is establishing, and the client always wanted a step well. A water, because being Gujarat, he said, I love that step well and you have to use. So sometimes it is a client's important, which also gives you a way to the solution. If the step well was, I said, then what do you call this waterways which were built in the old times, aqueducts. So those aqueducts, and it has a completely natural level also. So we thought that this architecture of an aqueduct, which are there in Gujarat also, which are there in Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, everywhere there are old aqueducts, and of course aqueducts are there in the Roman Empire, say aqueducts. So why not use the aqueduct element and study the local temples and architecture, marry, and then at that pivotal point, we try to put the public spaces, the banquet halls, and the lobbies and other areas. And along this axis, next, and that aqueduct, as if you are pulling the water from the river, taking it through the aqueduct. So the basic advantage of that upper level thing, so I could, you can imagine that wall, if I design it from that side, like an aqueduct. So it gives a birth to a starting point, the element, architectural language, which I can use it and for the resort to come as a design. Next. So again the same element comes here, the group of trees. So I said myself, let the trees dictate and let me show the path. Next. So this is how this layout was born. I mean, that particular pivotal point, when you see, that becomes an entrance courtyard. You have entrance court, and then you have lobbies and all those areas, bar, and this is the a step well. And that is the aqueduct at the upper level, which become a buggy way for the, and that's the residential element where maintaining the geometry of the trees which were maintained. I wanted to put all the residential rooms in that area, so that you are living in a actual Ambavadi, that kind of a thing. And the experience for it is not all the time important to see the river, water. Sometimes you don't see it also there. But the greenery and the trees, and if you are within that, if the resort is built, then that association becomes, and the banquet hall spaces were kept right in the beginning with the banquet lawn, with the security and the gate turning up. And I mean, whatever one has to take care of in hospitality planning has been taken care of. But the more issue was, how do I put the residences, the guest rooms within the mango trees, and the private villas along the water on the right side. Next. So that is how the roof plan and things were. And the spa spaces were kept as you go step well down to the water. To the step well becomes a structure by itself, where the lower spa spaces and some restaurants open into the step well bottom. So that is in the night time, if the landscape is handled properly and the lighting is done, then it's a different experience altogether, because you are at the bottom of the step well and the public spaces are opening at the bottom. Next. So these are like form, you can run through these slides. So with the initial sketches, we wanted to create the forms and the language. Next. So these are like public spaces and those mango and those guest blocks coming in. Next. You can run through. Yeah. So that was my first sketch when the mango is there. I wanted to create important villas at the lower level. The most important villas which are the lower level which would open directly to the mango trees, whereby you can walk down in the mango trees. Because then it was because the mangoes were in the discipline, I could create a pathways and put pebbles around, and mango trees are maintained as it is, and one can move through the groove, mango groove. And the upper level, as you go up, and then we play with the, and that's the level of aqueduct on the left side. And then the rooms above, automatically you see the top of the trees, or you see the river, or the beyond it. So the experience of living down, living up, and living up is completely different. So if you are in a group, if you go and your friends are living down and up, you probably don't find the similarities. A room may be similar, but the experience in the veranda is completely different. That also makes a lot of difference. Next. Like that. Next. So that's how the whole thing is. Next. So again, I'm trying to see how I'm trying to use the trees in the cluster and how it creates the pattern. Next. You can run through. So again, this is another example of a smaller project. The line is same, punch line is same, less the tree dictate. Next. So this site particularly had a lot of trees, but the trees, the form were very different. They were all like verticals. You know, these trees I really love because we here in our landscape architects or in the cityscape, when we see the tree, they don't prune the trees the way they do it in Singapore. What Singapore people they do, the phaltu branches at the lower level, they cut it and keep the crown only. And that's how it always there is a verticality in those trees. However, the big umbrella is, because they prune the branches at a lower level, the crown remains, and so it becomes a very important cityscape element, though there are a lot of trees. So next. So I just said if there is a vertical, surrender to vertical. So how I do surrender to vertical is like this. These are the like vertical forces which these trees are created, and client is asking me to design a bungalow within. So this vertical force, I said, let me not touch the thing. I would rather prune the phaltu branches, and verticality, I will surrender to vertical, which is there. Next. And embrace the horizontal. Once you have surrendered to the vertical, I am now free to embrace horizontal. So it's the way I look at it. Next. So this verticalness, I would wanted to bring in the horizontal force. A horizontal force for a house would create a scale with respect to the height of the trees. Next. So if I have a horizontal portal frame around it, whereby I also, along with the verticality of the trees, I start playing horizontal. This is the approach which I was taking. Next. And within that frame, I try and create more horizontality and create larger apertures to establish again the relationship with outside. Next. And these, if you go on the side of the bungalow, the same element which was created horizontal becomes vertical on the side. So here from the side of the bungalow, the vertical lines try and merge with the verticality of the trees. So this is how you try to relationship with the trees, verticality, surrender to vertical, and embrace the horizontal. Next. So again, this inside elevation, the horizontal comes, the verticality comes. So it's a play of horizontal lines and vertical lines, and the trees in the plot, they become the part of your architectural language. Next. So those were the trees. Next. And there was an existing house. So that gives a clue that this is the point where if I break that house, existing house, that is the place which is the empty space where I can take still my entrance and grow the house in the similar fashion. Next. You can run through. The major important point I have explained what I wanted to do. I wanted to go inside, build a bungalow, create the horizontality in front and at the back. And these are the plans which we did not even worry about. Next. This side elevation, you see the portal frames there, which become vertical. Now, this is a very important domain. Do not ignore your intuition. The first thing and the most important thing is the intuition only. Intuition, when you visit a site and if the client has already discussed with you the program around that, you definitely get some intuition what you are going to do. And you start analyzing the data which a client is asking for you to create for him. And then you start analyzing. And next. The such project, one resort design, it was completely based on the observation and the intuition together, how I deal with the trees again. This is a different example of the dealing with the trees. Next. So it was the resort design in Rajasthan, in a desert basically. And the client had bought the beautiful land. Out of that huge land, he wanted to create a resort design in Rajasthan. So the challenge was to create the Rajasthan architectural elements, yet keep it modern, simple, to control the cost and other parameters, and at the same time give a justice to the site also. So as usual, what happens is that you go to the site visit. So you go, I went to that particular town in Rajasthan where the site was away from this town. But this particular town had a very beautiful lake, and visited the site, went to the site next. And the beautiful architecture around the lake, Rajasthani old architecture, and you can see the skyline. You always get sort of inspired by what you see, and it has got a different charm altogether. However, modern architecture you want to create, but you want to draw some inspiration from this also. Next. So this is kind of a development around the lake. Next. Next. So when I came back, and generally with India you come back, now you have to start, and it is the most dangerous thing is your paper is empty always, and how to draw a first line. And that first line is so difficult to draw. So as usually my process is, I take my own sweet time. I am not in a hurry to draw my first line on the paper. So it is only the thinking and analysis and what I am going to do. Maybe you would design like that. You all must be doing the same process, I am sure. So you take your own time in coming to the paper and pencil. And then once your, so the observation sometimes how it helps, that when I came and just opened the Google, अरे बाबा वो टाउन देखा था क्या है गूगल में क्या है, तो what you saw is that lake over there, and I could see this beautiful road pattern. Because I don't know, somehow I said this is something very good, you know, the going around and those curves and straight way, and it's like very vernacular way. The old towns of Rajasthan and all that is very vernacular. It was so enchanting. I thought this is telling me something. This is going to take me to the solution of the resort. Next. And that was the lake over there. So the focal point in that town, in that streetscape, was the lake, was the focal point. I said, this is something which there. Next. So I just quickly, first I took the pencil paper, whatever came to my mind, out of that road line and all that lake, I just drew one scribble sketch. Well, let me start somewhere, a lie story. Again, something madness. We have to start, and then we have to find out what we are going to happen to the truth. Next. So that was a site, the plot, whereby in a particular portion he wanted to do the resort, because that's a huge site. And again there was a plantation. And to my surprise, when I went inside the site and saw these are all Aula trees, you know, Aula trees. And the previous owner has also planted in a quite a systematic manner and all that. So when I saw this, and when I saw that Google map and the intuition, my first sketch, I was, to be literally, was trying to find out my own lake. The lake which was in that townscape, in that cityscape, I was trying to find out my own lake. Next. So let the trees dictate again. Next. So those were these Amla trees and all that. And there are many. Then next. Like this character of the trees, of the Amla trees and all that. Next. So these are the site trees. Next. So these are the site plan which client had surveyed and put all the trees very painstakingly on the site, and they gave us this AutoCAD file, and now wanted to design research. Next. This is what, after observing this plan all the time, I found my lake. This was my lake, not a lake of the water, but the lake of the trees. And next. And the scribbling started, taking the inspiration of the road system of that particular town around the lake. When I found my lake, I said, this is my focal point, a bunch of trees where I can create a drama in the night time when people go on a stroll and happening places happen and they want to exploit the resort and all that. So this is where I put the, first of all, taking that spirit, that sketch and all that, I put the back of the mind was always there, okay, where my banquet spaces will be, where my lobby would be, where my arrival experience would be. And that was there while drawing this city, while drawing this road sketch and all that. I knew where I want to take an entry and how I would do it, but it's vague, very vague. And where there are no trees, where the development can take place, and how that lake would be used. Next. So that is how one would enter there. Next. So zoning was done. So that was like a banquet zone. Next. You can run. So that banquet zone, banquet lawn, and this was like a two entrances. One is particularly this resort was meant for marriages and all that. So never wanted to disturb the discipline of the foreigners would be staying and other guests would be staying. So the entry was kept separately so that the flock would come to the banquet, and these are the internal roads. Next. So that is where through the reception you enter into your restaurant complex. The most challenging in a resort design, Madhav knows very well where to place the kitchen. The kitchen is the most important element. So here, immediately I could sandwich the restaurant and a banquet. The kitchen was kept like a wedge inside, which would give service to the public areas of restaurant and to the banqueting and to the lawns and all that. Of course, the details would follow. Right? But that was the main thing, and the lake remained untouched there. Next. And that is how one would approach to the residential zones, whereby along the trees, wherever we could cut the trees, wherever we could preserve the trees, the different residential blocks would come. And when they go in the night time and go around or jogging or strolling and all that, the lighting and the architecture and the trees, whole thing will try to merge with each other in such a way that experience to the guest is so important, and to take back the memories is so important. So that is what I've been planning. And that became a service path, completely going all along and giving the back of the house service and loading, unloading and kitchen and all that. Even like, lawn hai bada, to in marriages, people come from outside for decoration and florists come, and that thing. The guest of the resort is not interested in that. It should be not seen at all. So the way it was planned. Next. So that's how the plan took place of the entire resort. My lake trees surround another tree, another go, and of course the service pattern, the parking lot, how the car would park at the end, then banquet entry and other entry, and then all negative spaces was the water. So water I could not get in my lake. The lake was of trees, but I could bring in the water element wherever the negative space was there to beat the heat of the Rajasthan, and then also create an experience. But water element, sometimes if you put in negative spaces, to me it is very important because it gives a discipline in movement. Sometimes in a marriage, the crowd, the children, they go here, there. But if there is a water, they have to move straight. जो भी हंगामा करना है वो लॉन में करो, बैंक्वेट हॉल में करो. Outside you are moving in a proper discipline, so that other guest is not disturbed also. So that water element helps. That's the step well again, because everybody wants to go down and get married, pendal, and there would be a towers for the drones which will go around and shoot, and so service road and all that thing, blah blah blah, everything come residential. Ye sab zone you can go through. I have explained my point of view. So these are the different elements, like that you see those as you go into the palaces. There is an archway. So we just created the series of archway by changing the scale all the time. So when you move, you are changing from one scale to other scale, and then again you come into the large scale. That's the banquet hall. Next. It's, a lot of things can be extended, but I will. So these are kind of a language. By avoiding complete decoration and ornamentation and all that, we could create that language. No more roofs and all that, and there are different angles shown. Correct. Yeah. Right. And then the jali elements, which will filter the light within. So the main function is kept within, but outside some distance there is a jali, and in between there is a water or something, so that you in the night time you get reflections and all that. So that has been thought of. Next, that is the entry. As you enter, yeah, that's the entry, and in between the gaps, the filtered sunlight will come in. अब ये सब है ना बात करने का है. So you come inside, then you have the main entry, and then you have that wall around which acts as a light well. Next, and the ceiling, which you take a pattern and you just stretch it. So that just becomes a pathway to go inside, whereby you are received inside. Next. So all this detailing can be done. You can run through. The particular, it is a central water courtyard with fountains and all that, and the arches. And that's the skylight which you gave me, that is in the main lobby. That's going to be the main lobby, where the reception and sitting and all that would happen. Next. And that's the banquet lobby. So banquet lobby, so we had to work out with the heights. The hathi bhi aa sakta hai, ghoda bhi aa sakta hai, and then musicians would sit on the top mezzanine, and they would throw flowers and all that on the bridegroom and bride, and pipani jo bhi bajana hai bajate rehte. So that is and this is the character, as you see. It kept with along with the lines, horizontal with verticals, and curvilinear lines all placed. And the geometry, if you see, is a palatial geometry. If you study the old buildings in Rajasthan, the kind of a geometry they have been building. So we adopted that language, but we created very meaningful modern spaces within. Particular emphasis was on the light, because the sun outside is so harsh. So we wanted to bring in the light, but in such a way that it is filtered and come inside, and then you don't get a glare at all. Next. So one small element I would like to explain here in detail in the sense. So as you enter into this space, this dome over here, if you find this dome here, that dome on this side is not touching to the channel, what you see here. The channel which is the design element was that particular channel which is exposed to the sky is finished in a China mosaic, white China mosaic. So the sun would come there, here, and reflect it to the dome and then come down like that. So half the dome which is coming inside those things are completely lit up. So and that reflected light of the sun would reflect on that channel, would hit the dome ceiling and then come down, and that would create a very good drama, and then you won't require. That was one of the elements, and such elements all over we designed and developed in such a fashion that every time the space is charged with the light in a very different dramatic way. That was the idea. Next. Yeah, you can run through. I mean, too many slides I wanted to cut down, but still I thought just because go back. Yeah, here. You know, like these are the admin offices and all that. So all those offices circulation kept in such a way that for a visitor you don't see any offices and circulation there, but you get a volume in the center. Next. These are the a restaurant, that's the kitchen which is coming in the banquet hall on the left side, with two wings with conference rooms and function rooms and bridegroom room and all those things opening up into the lawn. The kitchen which serves the restaurant which is sitting entirely in the water body. The bar having verandas here, and the bar opening up into the huge swimming pool which has got another bar itself. Next. Yeah. So those were the pathways which were designed for series of arches, but arches not connected with the trellis, and eventually we would grow the creepers so that every time when you lit up in the night time, so you know that you have crossed one arch, second arch, third arch, but which is not connected standing alone on its own, but still creates a circulation passage. Next. Can answer. Yeah. As a main banquet hall. Yeah, next. Banquet hall on that side, yeah. Next. You can run through, finish. That's the spa treatment room, gymnasium and all that, which has been designed along the amphitheater with campfire and all that, and the spa. Next. Run through. I think I have Jai Bajrang. Next. So valuable lessons are not taught, they are experienced. So you have to plan it or such a next. So I will not show this project. I think we are running out of time. Yeah. So let's stop here, because this valuable lessons are not taught, but
you can 5 minutes just.
No, 5 minutes. I'll just show you. See, this is one of the site of bungalow wanted to design, and went to the site, and there were huge trees along with it. Now how I put the relationship with trees? You run fast, I'll talk fast. So we went to the site. What actually in elevation you see the sky. More of an experience was seeing the foliage coming up and right. Next. So if you imagine that if I'm designing a bungalow there, and if I'm inside over here, you hardly see the sky. The line of the roof coming down will only show you the trees only. So you miss the sky. So I said, how do you solve this problem? Next. So basically the client wanted a swimming pool, and so we create a shallow water body, a black pool. The idea was that it will act as a mirror. And when you see the mirror, next. So that mirror, visual mirror language is very different language. When you treat the mirror, you have to imagine what kind of reflections you are going to get in the mirror and what way. So extended the mirror line, if you see next. So you start seeing the sky below. So the sky which you were missing from the house, you are seeing only trees. Now you start seeing sky in the water. So क्या? आसमान नीचे गाना था ना? You must do that. Next. ये ऐसा दिखेगा. बाद में, so this was imagined on the side कि like if I'm missing my sky, how do I bring the sky? Let the sky be seen down and the foliage up. So the reflection of the trees. चलो छोड़ो इसको आगे. You run through. Fast. Like that, water fast. Just run. A human scale was created because of sloping side, the other side. So you should be able to touch the roof and all that. Next. Chalo, run through. Thank you for your patience, but remember, don't use the nature and the trees to divide. Be very inclusive. You have to include in architecture and not make the partitions like that. Next. And let not nature overcome your architecture. Otherwise, ये गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. Or next. Now, I know what you are going to discuss over the drink is this. Yes, longer the explanation is bigger the lie. So I am admitting myself. So you now free to discuss that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we are so getting used to having comfortable presentations. But something like this, that's what we want to bring to the table. Like this, a design process, and the complete involvement of a designer. Otherwise, you don't get involved into the presentations. I would request Pratik, if you want to make a presentation. Abhishek Rajpurohit and Pratik Rawat.
Willkommen, which is a German word for welcome. First of all, on the inside, thank you, Pratap Yadav sir, for setting up again a platform for Hansgrohe. And honestly, it's never a formal thing whenever he makes something happen. It always becomes a fun for us, how to go, interact, create things. Going back by sir's beautiful presentation, innovation, intuition, which was the words, and it's always a vision. And that is the kind of vision a person in 1901 said, Mr. Hans Grohe. Known for his precision engineering, setting up a plant in Shiltak, the Black Forest, a place which is known for its engineering. Best of the engineering companies are being centered here, and there is where Hans Grohe is. Journey started from 1901, and the legacy continues, and maybe with the kind of design language, the kind of possessiveness, the people of Hans Grohe has towards the brand and continuing to be having one more century with the.
Hi. Firstly, thank you all for coming and gracing this occasion on behalf of Satya & Company and Hans Grohe. And it was a pleasure for us to be associated with today's event. And like Kanetkar sir's presentation was super. It showed us how environment or nature can be incorporated in design and architecture. And incidentally, Hans Grohe also follows the same principle of incorporating nature and natural elements and environmental friendly products in all their shower systems. Thank you all for coming and gracing this occasion.
Thank you, Vishnu. Thank you, Rishi. And thank you, Satya & Company as a whole for having supported this event so wholeheartedly. I'm missing Anirudh for that matter, and also Abhijit, who is, I don't know, he's caught up in something which is really urgent and needs his attendance, but he's the one who is also behind all this. But it's my pleasure now to introduce my dear friend, architect Habib Khan. I think he doesn't need an introduction. You all know he is a former president of Council of Architecture for 2 tenures and has brought in enough of change in the profession of architecture in India. And other than all this, as you know, I would justify that today's invitation to Habib on his poetry is not only a poet, he is an avid painter and has exhibited his paintings on Mahabharata, Ramayana and Kabir. He also dabbles in poetry as he is here today with all of us and has written songs for IIT. You must have heard over this IIT National Convention song which was written by him, and his further IIA Centenary song and anthem was also done by him. The theme song for Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao campaign. Today we had a wonderful session with him in the afternoon where he was explaining about Hinduism and other things. So on a lighter note, I called him your Chitpawan Mohammedan architect Habib Khan. So he's a Chitpawan Brahman. I don't know. He's on the board of RSS and various temple architecture he is involved in, and restoration and building it up. So amongst other things, the recent project of I believe the Bastar Museum, Banjara Museum near Nagpur has come up. It's something where we are all as SMFC trying to meet in August. On his invitation, our next session happens in August. For you, we'll meet with Hans Grohe on Design of Spirits next year, 2026. Our continuous support from Hans Grohe. So we'll decide the dates and get back to you with another innovative event. But as of now, I would like to invite architect Habib Khan for his poetry.
Thank you for coming here and listening to my thoughts. Honestly, this is the first time I am expressing my thoughts through my shairi in front of my fraternity. Shairi to me is very personal. कोई इमोशन आता है दिल में, मन में, कोई ख्याल आता है, कोई थॉट आता है, तो उसको हम लोग का, हर लोगों का अलग अलग तरीका होता है उसको एक्सप्रेस करने का, उसको बाहर निकालने का. तो शायरी इज़ वन ऑफ माई ways of expressing the emotion and the feelings that I have inside. तो सीख यार इधर आ जा भाई, तो बेटर रहेगा ना. I'll have to address you many times. So it's a very personal thing that I am sharing with you, and I hope you respond in the same way, because it's something that is very close to my heart, something that is very private. I am sharing for the first time in my fraternity. अभी तक मैंने अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स दिखाए, फंडे मारे, ज्ञान दिया, एक्ट की बात की, पॉलिसीज़ की बात की, और सब बातें की. मतलब खास करके when I was a president, I was expressing only about the act and the amendments and the policies and so on, which was very boring to me. But pre that and post that, thanks to friends like Pratap and all, I have been presenting something like about 15 to 20 presentations across the country every year. So, thank you Hans Grohe for giving this opportunity and taking care of all of us today. And thank you SMFC, my extended family, and Pratap, especially my dear friend, who thinks that I write pretty well, that I can express myself in front of all of you, although I don't have that much of confidence to express myself in front of you. But Pratap believes that I have. And last night he told me that कुछ SMFC के लिए लिख यार, तो अब इतनी जल्दी तो लिख नहीं पाया, बट राहत इंदौरी साहब का एक शेर याद आ रहा है कि दोस्ती जब किसी से की जाए, दोस्ती जब किसी से की जाए तो दुश्मनों की भी राय ली जाए. तो मैंने तुम सबके दुश्मनों की राय ली है पहले दोस्ती करने से. तो दोस्ती जब किसी से की जाए तो दुश्मनों की भी राय ली जाए, और बोतलें खोल के तो पी उम्र भर, आज दिल खोल के पी जाए. तो मेरी ये गुजारिश है आप लोगों से कि अपना दिल खोलें, है ना, क्योंकि शायरी सुनने के लिए एक अलग माहौल लगता है. जाम, सिंगल मॉल्ट या जो भी आप बोल लो, उसके अलावा दिल खोलना बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. बिकॉज एक शायर जो होता है ना, बड़ा सेंसिटिव आदमी होता है, सेंसिटिव आदमी होता है, इसलिए वो शायर होता है. तो शायर नहीं होता अगर सेंसिटिव नहीं होता वो. तो अब वो सेंसिटिविटी कैसे लाओगे? हाउ डू यू गेट दैट सेंसिटिविटी विद इन यू? हाउ डज अ शायर, शायर बोल लो, कवि बोल लो, कवि सम्मेलन, मुशायरा, जो भी आप उसको बोल लो, शायर हो, कवि हो, कोई भी हो, हाउ डज ही ब्रिंग दैट सेंसिटिविटी टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड टू राइट? ये हमको देखना है और समझने की. मैं आपसे ये रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ कि आप उस सेंसिटिविटी के साथ में यहाँ बैठें, और आपको जो पसंद आए तो वाह वाह करिए, ताली बजाइए. मेरे प्लांटेड लोग हैं यहाँ पे, पर आप लोग भी करेंगे तो बेटर रहेगा. मतलब तो मुझे भी मज़ा आएगा सुनाने में और आपको भी मज़ा आएगा सुनने में. अब वो जैसा आपने देखा होगा, सेंसिटिविटी कैसे जगाएंगे अपने अंदर में. गुलाब का फूल और उसकी एक टहनी होती है जिसपे कांटे होते हैं. हम कहते हैं यार कांटे जो है ना वो गुलाब के फूल को प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, गुलाब के फूल की रक्षा कर रहे हैं. अब शायर कैसे देखता है, मैं कैसे देखता हूँ उसको? मैं कहता हूँ कि टहनी के कांटों की हिफाजत के लिए, टहनी के कांटों की हिफाजत के लिए फूल मजबूर है तिजारत के लिए. यानी फूल ने अपने आप को सेक्रीफाइस कर दिया टू प्रोटेक्ट दी थॉर्न्स. अब ये मैंने कहा टहनी, उर्दू में एक और लफ्ज़ है जिसे कहते हैं डंडी, है ना, डंडी और टहनी. पर अगर डंडी लफ्ज़ को अगर आप शायरी में इस्तेमाल करोगे ना, गज़ल में इस्तेमाल करोगे, तो इट्स अ वेरी हार्श साउंडिंग वर्ड, वेरी हार्श साउंडिंग वर्ड. तो इसलिए उसको टहनी करके, तो गज़ल इज़ अ वेरी सॉफ्ट, वेरी रोमांटिक, सपोज टू बी रोमांटिक काइंड ऑफ. एंड देन जगजीत सिंह की आवाज़ हो, मेहंदी हसन की आवाज़ हो, है ना, तो अलग ही जलवा है. मतलब फरीदा खानूम का दर्द हो तो अलग ही बात होती है गज़ल में. तो वो सेंसिटिविटी जगाई अपने अंदर में कुछ देर के लिए. उसके बाद में फिर हम दारू शरू पियेंगे, सिंगल मॉल्ट पियेंगे, सब पियेंगे, और फिर तो उसके बाद में अलग ही शायरी निकलती है अंदर से, हर एक के दिल से. और दूसरी जो पॉइंट है सेंसिटिविटी जगाने का, वो ये ट्वाइलाइट आपने देखा और सुना हो ना. ट्वाइलाइट, ट्वाइलाइट क्या होता है? ट्वाइलाइट उर्दू में कहते हैं सबा, शब, सबा. उसका जो एग्जिस्टेंस होता है ना वो बहुत थोड़ी देर के लिए होता है. उसका एग्जिस्टेंस होता है सूरज की रोशनी से. सूरज डूब चुका होता है और उसका एग्जिस्टेंस होता है ट्वाइलाइट का, सबा का. और सबा का इश्क शायरी में चांद से होता है. और चांद बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट प्लेयर है उर्दू शायरी में, बहुत बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट. हज़ारों शेर व शायरी की हुई चांद के ऊपर में.
चांद और चांदनी के ऊपर में, तो उसका इश्क होता है चांदनी से। तो अगर आप ये समझ सकते हैं, उसका अगर पर्सोनिफिकेशन समझ सकते हैं, सबा को अगर पर्सोनिफाई किया जाए, उसको एक लेडी माना जाए, उसको एक ब्यूटीफुल वुमेन माना जाए, तो उसका एग्जिस्टेंस सूरज से है पर उसका इश्क चांद से। तो शब ने भेजे संदेशे चांद को, डूब गया है आफताब जल्दी आ जाना, अकेले में बैठ के बात करेंगे हम कुछ दिन, कुछ लम्हे, अकेले में बैठ के बात करेंगे कुछ लम्हे, सितारों से कहना थोड़ी दूर देर से आना। तो अगर ये सेंसिटिविटी अपने आप में जगाएंगे ना आप शायरी सुनने के लिए, तो मजा आएगा आपको। अब वो ये पॉइंट आप समझने की कोशिश कीजिए कि सबा को चांद से क्यों इश्क है। हम सबका एग्जिस्टेंस है, तो हमको जो एग्जिस्टेंस जिसके थ्रू से हमारा एग्जिस्टेंस है, पर आशिकी क्या है, इश्क क्या है कि आशिकी में फना होना, अपने आप को ख़त्म कर देना। तो जैसी चांद आता है सबा ख़त्म हो जाती है, तो वो आशिकी है। तो वो आशिकी थोड़ी देर के लिए अपने दिल में जगह है ना, तो मज़ा आएगा आपको। और जब आप बोलेंगे मैं रुक जाऊँगा, जब इच्छा होगी पीने की तब बोल देना, भूख लगी तो बोल देना मैं रुक जाऊँगा, मैं 10 मिनट 15 मिनट आधा घंटा 1 घंटा, जब आपकी इच्छा होगी। अब बिफोर आई स्टार्ट आई विल ब्रीफ यू, बिकॉज आई अंडरस्टैंड कि शायद आपको गज़ल के नज़म के नुआंसेस शायद मालूम ना हो, जिसको ना मालूम हो उनके लिए, जिसको मालूम हो उनके लिए आप थोड़ी देर कान बंद कर लीजिए। उर्दू अदब में, उर्दू लिटरेचर में 2 वर्टिकल्स हैं, मेजर वर्टिकल्स, वन इज गज़ल एंड द अदर इज नज़म। तो गज़ल की जो खासियत है, गज़ल की हर लाइन को मिसरा कहते हैं। एक लाइन इज अ मिसरा, 2 मिसरों का एक शेर बनता है। तो गज़ल का जो पहला शेर होता है उसे कहते हैं मतला। तो मतला सेट्स द थीम एंड द टोन ऑफ द गज़ल, बट एवरी शेर इन अ गज़ल इज इंडिपेंडेंट, हैज नो रिलेशन विद ईच अदर, एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट इज अ गज़ल, बट इट इज बाउंड बाय सर्टेन रूल्स। हम हिंदुस्तान में बैठे हैं, भारत में बैठे हैं, हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई अलग अलग धर्म जाति प्रांति सबके लोग हैं, पर हम एक भारतीयता की माला में जुड़े हुए हैं, वैसी गज़ल जुड़ी हुई है। तो हम सब एक गज़ल हैं हिंदुस्तान में रहने वाले। तो वो जो गज़ल का जो रूल्स है मैं बता रहा हूँ आपको, 2 मिनट के लिए सिर्फ, उसके बाद जो आप बोलेंगे। तो गज़ल का जो पहला शेर होता है उसे कहते हैं मतला, और एक रदीफ होता है। रदीफ इज द राइमिंग वर्ड विच इज द लास्ट वर्ड, रदीफ। और उससे पहले होता है काफिया, जो एक साउंडिंग वर्ड होता है, जिसका फोनेटिक साउंड होती है। तो काफिया और रदीफ का होना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, उसके बिना गज़ल नहीं बनती। और पहला मिसरा, पहली लाइन और दूसरी लाइन पहले शेर की, उसमें काफिया और रदीफ, द सेकेंड लास्ट वर्ड एंड द लास्ट वर्ड हैज टू बी सेम। दैट इज द रूल ऑफ द गज़ल। सेकेंड शेर ऑफ द गज़ल, सेकेंड शेर जो होता है गज़ल का, उसमें फर्स्ट लाइन फ्री होती है और सेकेंड लाइन में रदीफ एंड काफिया आना चाहिए, तो वो गज़ल बनती है। अब गज़ल का क्या मतलब सिंबॉलिक रेफरेंस है, हाउ डज इट फॉल इन प्लेस, हाउ कैन इट बी सung? इट कैन बी सung ओनली इफ इट हैज मीटर, और मीटर को उर्दू में कहते हैं बहर। अगर बहर सही होगी गज़ल की तो ही गाई जाएगी, नहीं तो गज़ल नहीं गाई जाएगी। अब बहर कैसे बनती है, 1 2 2 2 1 1, उसकी तरफ से, उसकी वजह से गज़ल बनती है, बहर बनती है उसकी। अब जैसे एक वर्ड है कभी, है ना, कभी, तो क पे लेस इंपॉर्टेंस है, भी पे ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस है। कभी भी अगर मैंने कहा तो उसका कैसे बनेगा, क वुड बी 1, भी वुड बी 2 एंड भी वुड बी 2, सो 1 2 2। तो ऐसा 1 2 2 2 1 2 2, तो नेक्स्ट भी ऑल्सो शुड बी 1 2 2 2 1 2 2, तो जाके गज़ल बनेगी। तो बिना बहर के, बिना उसकी बाइंडिंग के, वो जो धागा होता है जो एक माला को पिरोता है फूलों को, तो वो बहर है जो माला गज़ल को पिरोती है। जैसे कि ऐ खुदा ये मौजे ज़र भी तूने दिया मुझको, हाथों को अजीम व फ़न से तूने नवाजा मुझको। तो ऐ खुदा ये मौजे ज़र भी दिया तूने मुझको, और हाथों को अजीम व फ़न से तूने नवाजा मुझको। तो जो अ है ना वो दैट इज़ काफिया, और मुझको इज़ द रदीफ, और इसका बहर आप चेक कर लीजिएगा वो सेम आएगा मतलब। तो ये गज़ल है। और नज़म जो है, नज़म में एक थीम होती है जिसमें सिर्फ राइमिंग वर्ड होता है, आखिरी का रदीफ, और एक थीम शुरू से लेके पहले शेर से लेके आखिरी शेर तक एक ही थीम रहेगी। गज़ल में एक थीम नहीं रहेगी। सो दिस इज़ व्हाट द बेसिक रूल्स एंड कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ अ गज़ल एंड अ नज़म इज। और बाकी बहुत हैं विच विल नॉट गो इनटू डिटेल्स। हम सब डिज़ाइनर्स हैं, हम सब आर्किटेक्ट्स हैं यहाँ पे, and we call it mother of arts. Designing, architecture is mother of all arts. तो that is अजीम of fun. जो हमारा फन है उसका अजीम, जो उसका पीक है, that is architecture and that is design. तो मैंने एक गज़ल लिखी थी जिसकी मैं शुरुआत हर प्रोग्राम में, इस तरह के प्रोग्राम में उसी से करता हूँ. ये वो माँ सरस्वती की वंदना हो या महादेव का जाप हो या अल्लाह का नाम हो. तो ए खुदा ये मौजे ज़र भी तूने दिखाया मुझको, हाथों को अजीम व फन से तूने नवाजा मुझको. अजीम व फन मीन्स आर्किटेक्चर और मौजे ज़र, अगर आपको कुछ डिफिकल्ट लगे तो पूछ लीजिएगा, मतलब इससे इनफॉर्मल गैदरिंग तो मैं समझा दूंगा. मौजे ज़र मीन्स ये स्टेटस, दिस स्टेटस इन लाइफ दैट यू हैव गिवन मी. तो ए खुदा ये मौजे ज़र भी तूने दिखाया मुझको, हाथों को अजीम व फन से तूने नवाजा मुझको. आवाम व ख़ास तो काबिल तारीफ़ कहता रहा. आवाम व ख़ास मीन्स द एलीट एंड द कॉमन पीपल. आवाम व ख़ास तो काबिल तारीफ़ कहता रहा. इस अजीम व फन में मैंने हर बार पाया तुझको. इस अजीम व फन में हर बार मैंने पाया तुझको. माई क्रिएटिविटी, आर्किटेक्ट्स एंड डिजाइनर्स आर सपोज्ड टू बी नेक्स्ट टू गॉड बिकॉज दे आर द क्रिएटर्स ऑफ समथिंग आउट ऑफ नथिंग. सो इस अजीम व फन में मैंने हर बार पाया तुझको. और खुद से तो मैंने कभी किया नहीं कभी भी कुछ भी. खुद से तो मैंने किया नहीं कुछ भी कभी भी कहीं भी. मैंने तो वही लिखा तूने जो लिखाया मुझको. मैंने तो वही लिखा तूने जो लिखाया मुझको. और हर दरो दीवार और इमारत जो बनाई मैंने कसम से. हर दरो दीवार और इमारत जो बनाई मैंने कसम से. हर संग, संग मीन स्टोन, हर संग में तेरा ही अक्स पाया मैंने. हर संग में तेरा ही अक्स पाया मैंने. और ये हुनर तो तेरा था, हबीब तो जरिया था सिर्फ तेरा. जो मख्ता होता है ना, मख्ता इज द लास्ट शेयर इन द गज़ल जहाँ पे शायर अपना नाम लिखता है. और ये हुनर तो तेरा था, हबीब तो जरिया था सिर्फ तेरा. ज़माने ने बेवजह ही सजाया और संवारा मुझको. वाह 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 वाह. अब ये नॉट नेसेसरी कि एवरी शेयर विल हैव अ रूल. नॉट नेसेसरी. अब जैसे रुसवाइयों के चर्चे मेरे होते रहे बाजार में. रुसवाइयाँ मीन्स माई र्यूमर्स एंड बैड माउथिंग. तो रुसवाइयों के चर्चे मेरे होते रहे बाजार में. खरीद कर तुमने मुझे अनमोल कर दिया. खरीद कर तुमने मुझे अनमोल कर दिया. और बाजार इश्क ने तो हमें शहंशाह कह दिया. बाजार इश्क ने तो हमें शहंशाह कह दिया. जज्बाते तन्हाई के सिवा कुछ नहीं जिंदगी में. तो हाँ, उसको बोलते मुकर्रर. तो रुसवाइयों के चर्चे मेरे होते रहे बाजार में. खरीद कर तुमने उन्हें अनमोल कर दिया. और बाजार इश्क ने तो हमें शहंशाह कह दिया. जज्बाते तन्हाई के सिवा कुछ नहीं जिंदगी में. तो ये मैं थोड़ी ट्रेडिशनल टाइप की शायरी करता हूँ कि यू नो, नॉट कॉन्टेम्प्रेरी शायरी नहीं करता हूँ मैं. थोड़ा हर एक का अपना अपना चॉइस है कि हमने देखी है ये आँखों की महकती खुशबू, वो टाइप की शायरी नहीं करता हूँ मैं, सॉरी. बट मैं थोड़ी ट्रेडिशनल टाइप की शायरी करता हूँ. और मुझे याद नहीं रहता क्योंकि जो ख्याल आता है, जो इमोशन आता है वो लिख देता हूँ. इसलिए मैं प्रिंट करके लाया हूँ. सॉरी फॉर दैट. मतलब मुझे याद नहीं, वो मैं एक बार लिख दिया तो भूल गया, मतलब इसलिए मुझे याद नहीं रहता है. हाँ, अरे गुलजार साहब, मतलब ऐसे कान पकड़ना पड़ेगा मेरे को, भले ही कॉन्टेम्प्रेरी शायर हूँ. तो अब शायर का जो ईगो होता है ना, बहुत फ्रेजाइल होता है और बहुत बड़ा होता है. आई डोंट नो इफ यू हैव नोटिस, मेरा नहीं होगा बट अपने शायरों का यूजुअली. तो ये चराग मेरी अना को आवाज़ देते हैं. अना मीन्स ईगो. तो ये चराग मेरी अना को आवाज़ देते हैं. मुश्ते खाक कभी तूफ़ान को आवाज़ देते हैं. मुश्ते खाक मीन्स स्पेक ऑफ डस्ट. मुश्ते खाक कभी तूफ़ान को आवाज़ देते हैं. और साहिलों पे बैठ के नहीं सुन पाओगे तुम मुझे. साहिल मीन्स बैंक ऑफ अ रिवर. साहिलों पे बैठ के या बीच नहीं सुन पाओगे तुम मुझे. हम तो अमवाज़े दरिया को आवाज़ देते हैं. अमवाज़े दरिया मीन्स वेव्स ऑफ द ओशन. हम तो वेव्स ऑफ द ओशन से बात करते हैं. तुम कहाँ साहिल पे बैठ के मुझे समझने की कोशिश करोगे. तो ये शायर का दिल होता है, ये शायर का अंदाज होता है. मतलब हाँ हाँ हाँ, वाह वाह. तो एक और छोटा सा 1-2 मिसरों का शेर है कि दिल के दरवाजे पे ये किसने दस्तक दी. दिल के दरवाजे पे ये किसने दस्तक दी माधव भाई? ये दिल के दरवाजे पे ये किसने दस्तक दी? तुम तो अंदर हो, बाहर किसने दी? अब वक्त चारागर की बात क्या करें? वक्त चारागर मीन्स डॉक्टर, वन हू हील्स, और वक्त इज द ग्रेटेस्ट हीलर हम बोलते हैं ना, टाइम इज द ग्रेटेस्ट हीलर। तो वक्त चारागर की बात क्या करें? वक्त चारागर की बात क्या करें? शाम फिराक के लिए एक चांद दे दिया। शाम फिराक में जुदाई की रात, गम की रात, शाम फिराक के लिए एक चांद दे दिया। तो चांद को देखो, खुश हो जाओ यार, चांद की चांदनी और उससे आशिकी और व्हाटएवर। जख्मों को, मतलब मेरे जख्मों को मरहम लगाने वास्ते चांदनी का लेप दे दिया। जख्मों को मरहम लगाने वास्ते चांदनी का लेप दे दिया। अब चलो उसको छोड़ो, अभी विल डू समथिंग एल्स, थोड़ा सीरियस हो जाए, मतलब है ना। सबके घर में ही गुजरती है, मेरे घर में भी गुजरती है, सबके घर में गुजरती है। अगर आप अपने अंदर में झांकेंगे, अंदर में सोल को सर्च करने की कोशिश करेंगे, तो आप भी शायद इससे जुड़ पाएंगे। कि मैं, एक गज़ल है छोटी सी, छोटे बहर की गज़ल है, बहुत शॉर्ट गज़ल है ये, छोटे बहर की गज़ल है, गज़ल थोड़ी लंबी है पर छोटे बहर की है। कि मैं घर में अपना घर ढूंढ रहा हूँ। मैं घर में, मतलब है कि मैं घर में अपना घर ढूंढ रहा हूँ, मैं कुछ मुश्किल ढूंढ रहा हूँ। मैं घर में अपना घर ढूंढ रहा हूँ, मैं कुछ मुश्किल ढूंढ रहा हूँ। और कैसे मकाम राह में आए, कैसे मकाम है राह में आए, मैं फिर वो फुरखत ढूंढ रहा हूँ। फुरखत मीन्स फ्री टाइम। मैं फिर वो फुरखत ढूंढ रहा हूँ। और मेरे ख़त के साथ बड़े जो, मेरे ख़त के साथ बड़े जो, मैं वो चादर ढूंढ रहा हूँ। मैं कुछ अपना ढूंढ रहा हूँ। और अपनी ही तस्वीर बनाकर, थोड़ा सा बहुत पर्सनल है, अपनी ही तस्वीर बनाकर मैं खुद में खुद को ढूंढ रहा हूँ। अपनी ही तस्वीर बनाकर मैं खुद में खुद को ढूंढ रहा हूँ। और सूरज बनकर देख लिया, मतलब सूरज बनकर देख लिया, अब सूरज बनकर देख लिया, अब मैं अबरो चांदनी ढूंढ रहा हूँ। चांदनी की शीतलता ढूंढ रहा हूँ, अबरो चांदनी ढूंढ रहा हूँ। और घर की दीवारों में अब तक, घर की दीवारों में अब तक मैं पाए का पत्थर ढूंढ रहा हूँ। आई एम लुकिंग आफ्टर द फाउंडेशन ऑन द हाउस दैट आई हैव बिल्ट, ऑन द फाउंडेशन दैट आई हैव बिल्ट। तो घर की दीवारों में अब तक मैं पाए का पत्थर ढूंढ रहा हूँ। और हबीब ये तो खूब रही, मैं सहरा में बारिश ढूंढ रहा हूँ। सहरा मीन्स डेजर्ट, कि मैं सहरा में बारिश ढूंढ रहा हूँ। तो ये हम सब की गुजरी है, हम सब पे गुजरती है। तो कोई समझता है, कोई नहीं समझता। अरे यार तालियां कम बज रही हैं, थोड़ी मज़ा नहीं आ रहा, मतलब है ना। अब ये हम सबके साथ गुजरती, कोई एक्सेप्ट करता, कोई नहीं करता, है ना। मैं अहम था, यही वहम था। मैं अहम था, यही वहम था। अमर हूं शायद ये सोचा था, अमर हूं शायद ये सोचा था। सपने अनगणित बुनता था, सबके आगे रहता था, मन ही मन में हंसता था। मैं अहम था, यही वहम था। वाह वाह। हवाओं में ऊंचा उड़ता था, हवाओं में ऊंचा उड़ता था। आसमां जीतूं ये सोचा था। संजय भाई, आसमां जीतूं ये सोचा था। रिस्पांस कम आ रहा है आपसे, मतलब आप बड़ी दूर से आए हो, नासिक से। हाँ, हवाओं में ऊंचा उड़ता था, आसमां जीतूं ये सोचा था। ख्याल कभी ना आता था, धरती की गोद में सोना था। मैं अहम था, यही वहम था। चूहों के माफिक दौड़ता था राहुल, हाँ, चूहों के माफिक दौड़ता था। कुत्तों से अच्छा मैं लड़ता था। चूहों के माफिक में दौड़ता था, कुत्तों से अच्छा मैं लड़ता था। न जाने कितना बटोरा था, न जाने कितना बटोरा था, किसका हक हक मारा था। मैं अहम था, यही वहम था। और खुदा से भी न डरता था, खुदा से भी न डरता था, सजदा कभी न करता था। खुदा से भी न डरता था, सजदा कभी न करता था। प्रताप, बाद में अपन करने लगे सजदा। खुदा से कभी न डरता था, सजदा कभी न करता था। खुद में यकीन इतना था, खुद में यकीन इतना था। खुदा को खुदा, खुद को खुदा समझता था। मैं अहम था, यही वहम था। दौलत ही लेके जाना था, दौलत ये लेके जाना था, जलवे मरण झलकाना था। फ्यूनरल देखो अब कैसी होती है आजकल। दौलत ये लेके जाना था, जलवे मरण झलकाना था, चेहरे पे एक गुरूर सा था, चेहरे पे एक गुरूर सा था, झांक खुद में न देखा था, मैं अहम था, यही वहम था। मोह बंधन न समझता था, मोह बंधन न समझता था, रिश्ते निभाना ना आता था। मोह बंधन न समझता था, रिश्ते निभाना ना आता था। रूह को कभी समझाना था, अपने सोल को, रूह को कभी समझाना था, दिल को कई बार मारा था, दिल को कई बार मारा था, मैं अहम था, यही वहम था। हम सब मारते हैं दिल को अपने इस चूहों की रेस में। दोस्त एक न बनाया था, मैंने बनाए हैं कुछ दोस्त जो बैठे हैं। दोस्त एक न बनाया था, दुश्मनों का मजमा था। दोस्त एक न बनाया था, दुश्मनों का मजमा था, भीड़ में उनकी खोया था, भीड़ में उनकी खोया था, खुद से मैं खुद रूठा था, मैं अहम था, यही वहम था। वक्त खत्म होने आया था, अपना ऑलमोस्ट खत्म होने आ गया ना। वक्त खत्म होने आया था, तब मुझको समझ ही आया था। वक्त खत्म होने आया था, तब मुझको ये समझ आया था। अजीब दौड़ में उलझा था, अजीब दौड़ में उलझा था, खुद को ही ना पहचाना था, मैं अहम था, यही वहम था। अभी थोड़ा मजा आ रहा है सुनाने में, आपको समझने में थोड़ा भी राइट। हाँ। अब एक बहुत पर्सनल सी गज़ल है, बहुत पर्सनल गज़ल है, शायद हम सब में होती होगी, पर मेरी पर्सनल गज़ल है। समझने की कोशिश करिए, थोड़ा सा सेंसिटिव हो जाइए। हाँ, सीखे यस। कौन है फिर चिल्लाता मुझ में, कौन है फिर चिल्लाता मुझ में, संजीव विल अंडरस्टैंड, संजीव। कौन है फिर चिल्लाता मुझ में, कौन बिखर है जाता मुझ में, कौन है फिर चिल्लाता मुझ में, कौन बिखर है जाता मुझ में। फिर किसकी आवाज़ है आती, फिर किसकी आवाज़ है आती, क्या तू फिर है बोला मुझ में। फिर किसकी आवाज़ है आती, क्या तू फिर है बोला मुझ में। ले डूबी जो नाव वो मुझको, था उसी का मल्लाह मुझ में। मल्लाह मीन्स जो नाव चलाता है। ले डूबी जो नाव वो मुझको, था उसी का मल्लाह मुझ में। ढूंढा मैंने फिर उन सभी को, ढूंढा मैंने फिर उन, हम सभी ढूंढते रहते हैं लोगों को ना कहीं वैलिडेशन और ये सब ढूंढते हैं। ढूंढा मैंने फिर उन सभी को, कोई मिला फिर भी ना मुझ में, कोई मिला फिर भी ना मुझ में। हमको खुद का सेलिब्रेशन खुद करना है। कोई मिला ना फिर भी मुझ में, क्यों ये फिर मैं अब तपता हूँ, क्यों मैं फिर ये अब तपता हूँ। क्या हवस है बुझता मुझ में, हवस मीन्स लस्ट, वासना। क्या हवस है बुझता मुझ में, तेरे चश्मे तर की वो जहमत, परेश भाई, तेरे चश्मे तर, चश्मे मतलब भीगी आंखों का जो रोना है, तेरे चश्मे तर की वो जहमत करती क्या है इजाफा मुझ में। मतलब मैं दूसरों को दुख देके क्या मतलब पाऊंगा, मतलब है ना। तेरे चश्मे तर की वो जहमत करती क्या है इजाफा मुझ में। और मैं तो बस सिर्फ एक दोज़ख हूँ, दोज़ख मीन्स नरक। मालूम भाई, मैं तो सिर्फ बस एक दोज़ख हूँ, मैं तो बस सिर्फ एक दोज़ख हूँ। क्यों रहता है फिर तू मुझ में, क्यों रहता है फिर तू मुझ में। और अश्कों के सैलाब हैं आए, अश्कों के, अश्क मीन्स आंसू, अश्कों के सैलाब हैं आए, क्या तू फिर है रोता मुझ में, क्या तू फिर है रोता मुझ में। और मैंने खुद को बरसों है ढूंढा, मैंने खुद को बरसों है ढूंढा, कोई हबीब मिला ना मुझ में। हबीब का मतलब है फ्रेंड इन लव, और रकीब का मतलब है राइवल इन लव। तो मैंने खुद को है बरसों ढूंढा, कोई हबीब मिला ना मुझ में। चलो थोड़ा सीरियस बात हो गई, माहौल भी थोड़ा सीरियस हो गया ना, थोड़ा आशिकी की बात की जाए, इश्क और आशिकी की बात की जाए। हाँ, ये सब प्लांटेड है, पीछे से आनी चाहिए, ये सब प्लांटेड है। माधव, अरे तू अच्छा तिथे बसले। प्रताप फ्रॉम गोवा। खुशबू की तरह बिखरो मेरे दिल पे किसी दिन, खुशबू की तरह बिखरो मेरे दिल पे किसी दिन, एक रोज तो बरस जाओ मेरे दिल पे किसी दिन। खुशबू की तरह बिखरो मेरे दिल पे किसी दिन, एक रोज तो बरस जाओ मेरे दिल पे किसी दिन, गालों पे मेरे जुल्फ को बिखराओ किसी दिन। गालों पे, देखो बहुत मजा आ रहा है ना, आशिकी का मतलब बहुत मजा आ रहा है। गालों पे मेरे जुल्फ को बिखराओ किसी दिन। हर कोई इमेजिन कर रहा हो अपनी गर्लफ्रेंड वाइफ को छोड़ के, है ना, सब अपनी गर्लफ्रेंड को इमेजिन कर रहे होंगे। तो गालों पे मेरे जुल्फ को बिखराओ किसी दिन, फूलों की तरह मुझ पे बिछ जाओ किसी दिन, फूलों की तरह मुझ पे बिछ जाओ किसी दिन। एक दफा ही तुम मेरे घर रुक जाओ किसी दिन, एक दफा ही तुम मेरे घर रुक जाओ किसी दिन। हम रुके हैं वैसे, हम तेरे बोलने पे। तो एक दफा ही तुम मेरे घर रुक जाओ किसी दिन, सर रख के मेरे सीने पे सो जाओ किसी दिन, सर रख के मेरे सीने पे सो जाओ किसी दिन। और मख्ता पेश कर रहा हूं कि कदमों पे तेरे मर जाऊं ऐसा हो किसी दिन, कदमों पे तेरे मर जाऊं ऐसा हो किसी दिन, हर सांस में तेरी घुल जाऊं हबीब किसी दिन, हर सांस में तेरी घुल जाऊं। अच्छा पानी देना बेटा थोड़ा। और अब एक गज़ल और नज़म का हाइब्रिड पेश कर रहा हूँ। नहीं पानी यार, पानी भाई, नहीं तो फिर सुनाऊंगा कुछ, पढ़ते हैं कहीं पाँव रखती हो कहीं पाँव, आना चलना ना आए फिर भी इठला के चले हो, ऐसा हो जाएगा यार। मतलब पानी ठीक है मतलब। हाँ अब हमने सबने मेहंदी देखी, दुल्हन की मेहंदी, वाइफ की मेहंदी, गर्लफ्रेंड की मेहंदी, मेहंदी लगती है हाथों में कोई खुशी के मौके पे, तो उसे कहते हैं हिना, हिना कहते हैं उर्दू में। तो उसमें एक यार ये क्या हो गया, अच्छा हाँ, रंगे हिना में तेरे है मेरे खूनो जिगर जा, मेरे खूनो जिगर जा। तेरे रंग जो मेहंदी है ना, उसका रंग मेरे खून का, मेरे जिगर का रंग है। यानी मैं इतना प्यार करता हूँ, इतनी आशिकी मेरी तेरी से, कि तेरे रंगे हिना में है मेरे खूनो जिगर जा, तुझको न यकीन हो तो ज़िबा मुझको किए जा, तुझको न यकीन हो तो ज़िबा मुझको किए। ज़िबा मीन्स कत्ल करके खून निकलेगा, और तू देख ले मेरे खून का रंग और तेरी हिना का रंग एक ही है। तो तेरे रंगे हिना में है मेरे खूनो जिगर जा, तुझको न यकीन हो तो ज़िबा मुझको किए जा। और खुशबू ये बसी है रगों में जाने जिगर में, तेरी खुशबू ये बसी है मेरे रगों में जाने जिगर में, तुझको न यकीन हो तो हलक मुझको किए जा। हलक मीन्स क्रश, मुझको क्रश करके खुशबू देख ले और तेरे हिना की खुशबू देख ले। तो खुशबू ये बसी है रगों में जाने जिगर में, तुझको न यकीन हो तो हलक मुझको किए जा। और मुझको न पता नहीं, नथनी में तेरी अटके हैं अरमां सभी मेरे, दुल्हन की नथनी होती है, तो ये सक्सेसफुल आशिक भी कह सकता है और अनसक्सेसफुल आशिक भी कह सकता है। तो नथनी में तेरी अटके हैं अरमां सभी मेरे, तुझको न यकीन हो तो अफत मुझको किए जा। अफत मीन्स डिस्ट्रॉय। तुझको न यकीन हो तो अफत मुझको किए जा। और मुझको न पता मुझको तो ये कैसे हुआ है, मुझको न पता मुझको तो ये कैसे हुआ है, तुझको न यकीन हो तो मुझको पता किए जा, तुझको न यकीन हो तो मुझे पता किए जा। हम गिरते रहे राहों में गिर गिर के उठे हैं, हम गिरते रहे राहों में गिर गिर के उठे हैं, तुझको न यकीन हो तो यकीन मुझको किए जा, तुझको न यकीन हो तो यकीन मुझको किए जा। हम बंधे हैं बाहों में तो बंद बंद के मरे हैं, हम बंधे हैं तेरी बाहों में, हम बंधे हैं बाहों में तो मर मर के बंधे हैं, तुझको न यकीन हो तो रिहा मुझको किए जा, तुझको न यकीन हो तो रिहा मुझको किए जा। और समझेगा कभी तू मेरी ये जिगरे सदा जा, मतलब जिगर की आवाज़ तू कब समझेगा, समझेगा कभी तू मेरी ये जिगर सदा जा। तुझको न यकीन हो तो खुदा मुझको किए जा, तुझको न यकीन हो तो खुदा मुझको किए जा। और हसरत तो है फिर मुझको तू ज़ाया करे, तू ज़ाया मीन्स वेस्ट, लाइफ वेस्टेड। हसरत तो ये है फिर मुझको तो ये ज़ाया करे तू, तुझको न यकीन हो तो ये मुझको किए जा, तुझको न यकीन हो तो ये मुझको किए जा। अब एक बहुत मशहूर शायर हुए हैं बिहार के, उर्दू अदब के, कलीम आजिज साहब, और गज़ल के बादशाह, कभी आप सुनिएगा यूट्यूब पे, गज़ल के बादशाह। तो उन्होंने एक गज़ल लिखी, उसके कुछ चंद शेर सुना। दिन को सितम एक रात को सितम करे हो, एक दिन को सितम और एक रात को सितम करे हो, तुम दोस्त हो दुश्मन से अदावत करे हो, और तुम दोस्त होने के बावजूद भी तुम दुश्मनों जैसे काम कर रहे हो। और दामन पे कोई छींट ना खंजर पे कोई दाग, दामन पे कोई छींट ना खंजर पे कोई दाग, तुम कत्ल करे हो कि करामात करे हो, तुम कत्ल करो हो कि करामात करो हो। तो हमको लग रहा है ये आशिकी का इश्को आशिकी की शेर पर ऐसा नहीं है। 1975 में जब इमरजेंसी लगी थी, इंदिरा गांधी प्राइम मिनिस्टर थी उस टाइम पे, 15 अगस्त 1975 को लाल किले में एक कार्यक्रम हुआ था, मनोरंजन का कार्यक्रम हुआ, सेलिब्रेशन ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस डे। उस टाइम में प्राइम मिनिस्टर भी मौजूद थी। तो ये उन्होंने पॉलिटिकल गज़ल है, ये आशिकी गज़ल नहीं है कि दामन पे कोई छींट ना खंजर पे कोई दाग, तुम कत्ल करो हो कि करामात करो हो। तो इट वॉज अ एंटायर, बहुत लंबी गज़ल है, मैं सुनाना नहीं चाहता, बट नॉट नेसेसरली कि जो शायर कहना चाह रहा है वो इश्क आशिकी की बात हो, उसके हिडन मीनिंग्स भी बहुत होते हैं। तो मैंने भी थोड़ी कोशिश की है, हालांकि प्रेजेंट सिचुएशन से इसका कोई लेना देना नहीं है, ये प्रेजेंट सिचुएशन से बहुत पहले लिखी गई थी। आई डोंट वांट दैट दिस होटल, ब्यूटीफुल होटल, बी डिस्ट्रॉयड और डिमोलिश्ड and my social media handles are blocked or I am arrested and you all will have to come as witness। तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, मतलब ये बहुत पहले लिखी गई थी, 2012 में लिखी गई थी। तो उसने तो फिर निकाला, पॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन पे है जो हम जिस तरह से ना, तो उसने तो फिर निकाला है आज अजीबो गरीब फरमान। आप सब लोग होशियार हैं, मतलब समझ जाएंगे मैं क्या बोलना। उस फरमान मीन्स आदेश। उसने तो निकाला है आज एक अजीबो गरीब फरमान, आंधियां ना आएंगी मुल्क में मेरे, आंधियां ना आएंगी मुल्क में मेरे, ये है मेरा फरमान। आंधियां ना आएंगी मुल्क में मेरे, ये है मेरा फरमान। और हवाएं ना इस सिमत चलेंगी, अब यहाँ ये सुन लो सभी तुम, इस सिमत दिस डायरेक्शन, हवाएं ना इस सिमत चलेंगी, ये सुन लो सभी तुम, और लहरें भी ना उठेंगी अब दरिया में, ये है मेरा फरमान। जिस तरह के डिक्टेटर्स हुआ करते थे पहले, अभी तो नहीं मालूम मुझे, पर जिस तरह के हुआ करते थे कि हवाएं ना इस सिमत चलेंगी, अब यहाँ ये सुन लो सभी तुम, और लहरें भी ना उठेंगी दरिया में, ये है मेरा फरमान। गर्दे सहरा अब अंजुमन हुआ, गर्दे सहरा मीन्स डेजर्ट, गर्दे सहरा अब अंजुमन मीन्स बाग, गर्दे सहरा अब अंजुमन हुआ। खिजा में तो बहार आई है, खिजा मीन्स पतझड़ में बहार आई है, खिजा में तो बहार आई है, गुलिस्तां में अब गुल एक रंगी होंगे, ये है मेरा फरमान। अब वो रंग चाहे सैफरन हो चाहे ग्रीन हो, इज अ डिफरेंट इशू, बट गुलिस्तां में अब गुल एक रंगी होंगे, ये है मेरा फरमान। और दरिया बहेंगे मेरे जानिब से, रिवर विल फ्लो फ्रॉम माई साइड, साबरमती में नर्मदा का पानी। तो दरिया बहेंगे मेरे जानिब से, समंदरों को थाम लिया है, दरिया बहेंगे मेरे जानिब से, समंदरों को थाम लिया है, मेरे मुल्क के बाशिंदा सब नाबीना हो, ये है मेरा फरमान। नाबीना मीन्स ब्लाइंड, अंधभक्त, ब्लाइंड। मेरे मुल्क के सब बाशिंदे नाबीना हो, ये है मेरा फरमान। और मैं ही मैं हूँ, मैं ही मैं हूँ, अब तुम में भी और मुझ में भी मैं ही मैं हूँ, मैं ही मैं हूँ, अब तुम में भी मुझ में भी मैं ही मैं हूँ। उठोगे और सोओगे, मैं कहूँगा जब ये है मेरा फरमान। पंछी न गाएंगे अब, मेहताब उगेगा मेरे कहे से यहाँ, पंछी न गाएंगे और मेहताब मीन्स चांद उठेगा मेरे यहाँ, कहाँ से, मेरे कहे से यहाँ। इस ज़मीं को रोक लूँगा मैं जब चाहूँ, ये है मेरा फरमान। इस ज़मीं को रोक लूँगा मैं जब चाहूँ, ये है मेरा फरमान। चांद तो रहता है सितारों के दरमियाँ हरदम, चांद तो रहता है सितारों के दरमियाँ हरदम, तेरी चांदनी को चुरा लूँगा मैं, ये है मेरा फरमान। अब शायर कह रहा है कि गुर्बत में चल रहा है ये मुल्क मेरा, गुर्बत मीन्स इग्नोरेंस, गुर्बत में चल रहा है ये मुल्क मेरा, मुल्क वर्दा तो हैं अहमक, हमारे जितने सिटीजन्स हैं वो अहमक है, फूल्स। गुर्बत में चल रहा है ये मुल्क मेरा, मुल्क वर्दा तो हैं अहमक, और समझ चुका हूँ मैं ये, तुम भी समझ लो, ये है हबीब का फरमान। अब इसी
पसंदीदा,
हाँ?
एक दो पसंदीदा, एक
10 मिनट,
5 मिनट।
अब इसी की बात चली है, 5-10 मिनट में ख़त्म करना है। तो अब इसी तरह का माहौल जिस तरह से हो रहा है, तो लिख के तो मैं बहुत लाया था, बट एक सुनाता हूँ आपको अभी जिस तरह का माहौल चला हुआ है कि ये ज़माना रंग मेरे खून का पूछता है। मेरा पर्सनल टर्मोइल है ना, पर्सनल एज अ मुस्लिम इन दिस कंट्री। हालांकि मतलब इज़ अ डिफरेंट इशू, जो लोग मुझे जानते हैं, इट्स माई पर्सनल टर्मोइल कि ज़माना रंग मेरे खून का पूछता क्यों है, ज़माना रंग मेरे खून का पूछता क्यों है, घर सबका घर एक है तो खंजर से जांचता क्यों है। तेरा खून मेरा खून एक है भाई। ज़माना रंग मेरे खून का पूछता क्यों है, घर सबका घर एक है तो खंजर से जांचता क्यों है। और इसी खून से लिखी हैं इमारतें हसीन, बदली निगाहों से मतलब नए ढूंढता क्यों है, बदली निगाहों से मतलब नए ढूंढता क्यों है। और क्या तैमूर, क्या औरंगजेब और क्या ही अकबर, क्या तैमूर, क्या औरंगजेब और क्या ही अकबर, तू इनसे मेरा नाता जोड़ता क्यों है। और यकीन दिलाना भी चाहूं तो दिलाऊं किसे हबीब, मक्ता पेश कर रहा हूं, यकीन दिलाना भी चाहूं तो दिलाऊं किसे हबीब। सभी हम जुल्फ थे मेरे फ्रेंड्स, सभी हम जुल्फ थे मेरे, बने आज रकीब क्यों हैं, बने आज रकीब क्यों हैं। तो ये करंट सिचुएशन की बात थी। अब एक आखिरी नज़म बोलिए या गज़ल बोलिए, नज़म सुना के आशिकी का मूड करके ख़त्म करता हूँ। हालांकि बहुत था टाइम, आधे घंटे का, और बट सीखे कि सुनते सुनते मतलब है ना, प्योर एनलाइटेंड। तो इस तरह से ज़िंदगी में हासिल हो, एक थोड़ी सी अपनी जगह ही आशिकी फिर से अपने दिलों में, कि तो इस तरह से ज़िंदगी में हासिल हो, जान भी निकले तो इजाज़त मांगे। तो इस तरह से ज़िंदगी में हासिल हो, जान भी निकले तो इजाज़त मांगे। और छुपा लूँ मैं तुझे इस तरह से बाहों में, छुपा लूँ तुझे इस तरह से बाहों में, हवा भी गुजरे तो इजाज़त मांगे। और तेरे इश्क में हो जाऊं मैं इतना मदहोश, तेरे इश्क में हो जाऊं मैं इतना मदहोश, होश भी आए तो इजाज़त मांगे, होश भी आए तो इजाज़त मांगे। और अपनी आंखों में इस तरह से छुपा ले मुझको, अपनी आंखों में इस तरह से छुपा ले मुझको, नज़र भी लगे कभी तो इजाज़त मांगे, नज़र भी कभी लगे तो इजाज़त मांगे। और तेरे हुस्न की क्या मैं तारीफ़ करूं, तेरे हुस्न की मैं क्या तारीफ़ करूं, ज़ुबान कुछ कहने से पहले इजाज़त मांगे, ज़ुबान कुछ कहने से पहले इजाज़त मांगे। और वो समा क्या होगा वसल की रात का, वसल मीन्स मिलन की रात, वो समा क्या होगा वसल की रात का, कि ज़िंदगी भी आए तो इजाज़त मांगे। और मेरी सांसें तो तेरी गिरवी हो गई, मेरी सांसें तो तेरी गिरवी हो गई, मौत भी आए तो इजाज़त मांगे, मौत भी आए तो इजाज़त मांगे। और हबीब तू मेरा इस तरह से बन जाए, हबीब तू मेरा इस तरह से बन जाए, रकीब भी आए तो फिर इजाज़त मांगे। अब आखिरी प्रताप, लास्ट वन, हाँ लास्ट वो अल्लाह भी लिख के आया था, पर मेरे ख्याल से वो नेटकॉन वाली जो थी, और मुझे एक कंपलसरी, हाँ वो तो लास्ट में है ना, वो तो लास्ट में। तो है दुनिया वालों, अब आखिरी गज़ल पेश कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि समय की पाबंदी है, उसके बाद में बहुत काम करने हैं हमको, विच आर मोर इंटरेस्टिंग। तो क्या दुनिया वालों अगर चाहो मुझे याद रखना, है दुनिया वालों अगर चाहो मुझे याद रखना, बहते हुए पानी पे मेरा नाम लिख देना, बहते हुए पानी पे मेरा नाम लिख देना। क्यों मुझे समझना, क्यों मुझे समझना या फिर याद रखना, क्यों मुझे समझना या फिर याद रखना। मैं मुसाफिर हूँ यहाँ तुम ये मत भूलना, मैं मुसाफिर हूँ यहाँ तुम ये मत भूलना। आए हैं सब यहाँ, हम आज सुबह इस बारे में बात कर रहे थे, आए हैं सब यहाँ हमने है गुजर जाना, आए हैं सब यहाँ हमने है गुजर जाना। क्यों याद करना किसे या फिर याद रखना, क्यों याद करना किसे या फिर याद रखना, और ज़माना क्यों चाहे लंगर अंदाज होना, लंगर अंदाज एंकर, एवरीवन लुक्स फॉर एन एंकर, कि ज़माना क्यों चाहे लंगर अंदाज होना, कश्ती ने मेरी न चाहा कहीं लंगर डालना, कश्ती ने न मेरी चाहा कहीं लंगर डालना, और हबीब न साहिल थे, साहिल मीन्स बैंक ऑफ अ रिवर और अ बीच, हबीब न साहिल थे न चाहा दरिया होना, हबीब न कभी साहिल थे न चाहा दरिया होना, फिर भी गर चाहो और चाहो खुश होना, बहते हुए पानी पे मेरा नाम लिख दे। और अब आखिरी में एक मैंडेटरी हमारा रिचुअल है, जो मंदिर में बिना घंटा बजाए अंदर नहीं आ सकते, तो और बाहर निकलने से पहले परिक्रमा करना पड़ता है। तो मेरे दोस्त प्रताप के लिए इसके रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं, तो मैं चाह रहा हूँ कि रोंगटे जो खड़े हो जाएंगे वो सिंगल मॉल्ट से बैठ जाएंगे उसके बाद। तो हो गई है पीर पर्वत सी पिघलनी चाहिए, इस हिमालय से नई गंगा निकलनी चाहिए, हो गई है पीर पर्वत सी पिघलनी चाहिए, इस हिमालय से नई गंगा निकलनी चाहिए, और आज ये दीवार पर्दों की तरह हिलने लगी, शर्त लेकिन ये है बुनियाद हिलनी चाहिए, हर सड़क पे हर गली में हर नगर हर गांव में, हर सड़क पे हर गली में हर नगर हर गांव में, हाथ लहराते हुए हर लाश चलनी चाहिए, और सिर्फ हंगामा खड़ा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं, सारी कोशिश ये है सोच बदलनी चाहिए, और तेरे सीने में न सही मेरे सीने में सही, हो कहीं भी आग लेकिन आग लगनी चाहिए, हो कहीं भी आग लेकिन आग लगनी चाहिए। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर लिसनिंग टू मी and giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts. Thank you so much.
We have a very important thing to just finish off. This year, as I told you when you all came, that is the 75th year of our legendary architect, Mr. Chandrasekhar Kanitkar. I would invite Abhijit Sonar, instrumental in getting all of us together here. Abhijit, for some reason, is late.
Sorry, apologies. My mother had to go for a sales specialist, so I was laid off for a day. And my mother cannot track me. So apologies, but sir, अपने आप तो लगा दिया लेकिन लोगों को भूख भी कम लगी है. So अभी जहाँ हो जाए कुछ खाना हो जाए. But I really want to thank each of you. Just witness the poetry of design. Now let's witness the design of spirits. I think each one of you are so talented, and this is an amazing, inventive genius that I see all of you. And only Pune people can do it. Only Pune architects can have it. It's giving that respect to each and every word, everything. We all want to talk, we all want to share, but there are very few best listeners in the world. And I think you guys have done it, and it's phenomenal. Respect all of you, and I only wish that you guys create some beautiful designs that really enrich lives, because I think you do a wonderful job. It's an auspicious job that you do. It's not just creating structures. You create structures that shape destiny, dreams, and I think all the best for you. Keep designing, keep architecting, and keep a spirit high. Cheers to generous designs. And we also need to collect cake for sir. It's a milestone, a phenomenal milestone, and I think let's have it. And the milestone.